to the topic of the discussion and hit the issues you typically find reluctant. Remove the facade to fill the gap with some substance. We undermining problems, expecting to overcome it. Please hold the applause. We doing it for the cause. People follow culture before they follow the laws. We rather face the friction and not attempt it at all. Persistence will find solutions once our contentment dissolves. There's a hard pill to swallow for anyone breathing, both for folks who stay woke and those who be dreaming. We ain't slaves, yet we still ain't experienced freedom. What we need is the keys to access the kingdom. We're all in this fallen world trying to stay intact. I'm just a beggar, point you out to where the bread is at. So follow the breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel. Thank Yogi Bear and the thought engineer for that on Monday. It's Man Talk Monday. Woo!
So, okay, so
I think y'all be able to hear us now.
Okay, so we good.
There we go. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, we good now. So because we taking them down out the stream instead of
Is that?
You got to go with the solo shot. That's instead.
Oh, is that what it is?
All right. Yeah, Pastor Sage can hear us.
Okay.
Yeah, Pastor Sage can hear us. So.
Okay.
There we go. We getting it worked out. We getting it worked out.
Okay. Oh, modern technology. Don't you just love it?
Oh man, what you talking about? What you talking about? But let me just say this real quick. This is Man Talk Mondays. It's open forum where we give you the real, rational realities of relationships, but we're doing it from a man's perspective. So keep in mind, this is not just for men. We want everybody to join in, participate. Men, women, boys, and girls, you are welcome to participate. How you do this, you go into the comment section, leave your comment, leave your question. This is how you talk to us. But by all means, we want to hear from you and see what's on your mind, right? So make sure you talk to us. Let us know what's going on with you as it pertains to the topic. It is MLK Day. It's MLK Day. Martin Luther King, it's his birthday. Some of y'all had the day off, some of you didn't. But hope you had a great MLK Day. You know, I'm kind of disturbed how you hear more about, instead of the work he did, the marches, all he was able to accomplish and everything, you hear more about his personal life,
His infidelity.
The infidelities, and all. You hear more about that than you hear about
His accomplishments and what he did, what he meant for us, what his accomplishments and exactly what he meant for us.
Yeah, you hear more about, you know, all of the stuff. And I was like, is that what we need to focus on?
Well, he wasn't Jesus, so if we were looking for perfection in the man, we weren't supposed to be looking to him anyway.
Got a point.
He had a mission, and he stayed true to that mission until some things were accomplished. And so I think he needed to be celebrated because of that. Because I tell you what, how many times think about it. As much as well as things are going today, they could have been a lot worse if we didn't have someone to go and get on the front line. Because a lot of us talk about being on the front line. It's different being out there, man. That whooping is a little different when they hitting you with sticks and water hoses and everything else. When you're trying to get just equal rights, when you're trying to be delivered from different things that society is doing to you. It's difficult, man. And I just thank God that he had somebody in place that had a purpose to do that, because I know I wouldn't have. So thank God for that. And also, he wasn't supposed to be Christ. He's supposed to be a man.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Dude, I remember seeing this young girl, and she may be late 20s or something like that.
We don't got no sense.
And I can't respect him
Because we don't got
and
no
all
sense.
this, because
But you know
he
what?
cheated on this. Well, I'm like,
But she says she can't respect him, but she's blessed with some of the things that he's done to allow her to have an opinion. Because if it's up to me, she'd be in the kitchen washing dishes and barefooted, where we wouldn't get none of it. Because everybody don't deserve a voice, but he gave that to her.
Yeah, the very fact that you can get on a platform and talk about this man like this
Exactly
was because he marched. He, you know what I'm saying, faced police with dogs and water hoses and all of this. He went to jail several times and in the whole nine, for you to be able to badmouth him. And the thing that gets me, we know, you know what I'm saying, despite whatever flaws he had, why do we tear our heroes down and celebrate everybody else's?
Well, one of the things, social media is the devil. Let me just say that. As much as I thank God for it, it is man. We use it, and we can't seem to do right by it.
Oh man!
And everybody that has a voice on it doesn't necessarily need a voice to be heard.
Yeah,
and that's one of the travesties of social media. We don't have a gatekeeper at the door to say, we don't need to hear that foolishness. We don't have that. Everybody just get to spew their foolishness, and most of the time, that's the stuff that we hear more of than anything else.
Yeah. It's sad. It's sad. It's almost disheartening but I guess it's something to be said. Y'all know, y'all. Let me know how y'all feel. How do y'all feel out like the black heroes, the heroes for the black community? Do you feel they get torn down while heroes in other communities, you know, the negative stuff about them don't seem to be, you know, projected out and broadcast and be the things that we focus on?
Yeah, but you know, we are what do they call it? Shock jocks. Most of the time, we want to say something that'll be shocking, so we get talked about. Because think about this: I wouldn't have never known that girl existed if she hadn't said something stupid.
Yeah.
So and most of the time we do it to each other. So
I don't like for our heroes to be torn down because we don't have that many. And as soon as we get one, all of the negativity comes out, and that's all we focus on.
Then perhaps we need to redefine what the definition of hero is, then,
or at least the qualifications.
Absolutely. Because if you're not going to stand in the place of one and be one, you can't tear down another one.
Oh yeah. You're absolutely right. Because he was a man that stood for something.
Yes,
he stood for something, and he had to endure a lot, even to the point that it took his life. It's the stance that he took for us. You know what I'm saying? Cost him his life. Would you consider him a strong man?
Oh, absolutely. When he was, I think they were doing the sit-in, and they came in and arrested. Could you imagine not doing anything wrong? We don't want to get pulled. We don't want the police to pull us over when we speed.
Right.
We arguing and fighting with them. Then I just couldn't imagine not doing it, because how we want everything to be equal, and we ain't putting up with this, we ain't putting up with that. I just can't imagine a time where you could expect to be mistreated. You could expect not to be treated fairly.
Exactly.
I could not imagine that. And to be honest, man, I thank God for him, because again, it wouldn't be me. Because I'm telling on all you. I'm telling on all you. Y'all gonna be mad at me. Y'all gonna be mad at when they look like they've been hitting me. I'm giving up. I'm gonna fall and land the flow and say, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. I just thank God for him being able to do that, because that couldn't have been me.
Because his whole stance was nonviolence, and all that, the whole nine. Is being nonviolent, is that really being strong?
Well, or would it be considered weak?
That's what I'm wondering. I mean, he was able to get a lot accomplished, but the stance of nonviolence. And when you look at guys who have been categorized as people who don't want no smoke, they don't want smoke,
don't want no trouble,
he looked at as weak guys. Are they weak, or are they just under control, easygoing, or is it wisdom that they dial it back and don't, don't go there? Is it wisdom? Or are they being weak? So we're talking about today, is he weak or just easygoing? Is he weak or just easygoing? Is your man a pushover and just lets you run over him, or does he willingly lay down and give you that space to do what you want to do?
You know what's crazy about the question is most of those the guys that are considered weak or easygoing generally end up by themselves. The woman normally don't stay with him. She normally leaves with a guy that's very demanding and tells her what to do, or don't allow her to get her way, which is the craziest thing, because everybody want their way until they can get their way. And then it's, oh girl, he was too nice, I was just gonna run over him. I don't understand. I don't understand what the disconnect is. Either you want to be, because me and Derek were talking about this earlier. It's amazing to me how many beautiful women I've seen over the years are in marriages where they're not happy. It's amazing to me, because there were guys with them that were nice guys that they could have got their way with. They didn't want those guys. They wanted the guy that they had to tame and to try to beat him in place.
Right.
And generally that doesn't work most of the time. And now we're miserable in marriage, in relationships.
You in your car 2-3 in the morning, driving down the street, see if you can spot his car, wonder where he is, and all this type of stuff. But the dude that's actually where he is, he lets you know where he is, and that's where he is. That dude, you don't want to deal with him. You don't want to fool with him.
No, because he's not like Cardi B said, I need excitement in my life. Well, do a fool busting you upside your head add excitement to your life?
But I'm like,
that's what she said. That's what she said. It was like, really? Is this the standard that we setting in dating now? That he has to be ready to go upside your head? Because I'm gonna tell y'all something. I got a daughter out there, and the first one of y'all who come with that foolishness, I'm gonna lay you down.
You heard it.
You come with that foolishness if you want to.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Everybody better put their hands in their pocket.
Pastor Sam says, meekness under control is not weak. Every meek man has a no, which means no. But why do people have to test that no though, Pastor? Why does the no have to be tested? And I'm gonna ask for men out there, any men out there listening, your no gets tested. How should you respond if your no gets tested? How do you respond if your no gets tested and without going to jail? Put it that way, without going to jail. How do you respond when your no gets tested?
Well, just let me say this. Sometimes you got to go to jail. Sometimes you got to go to jail. I want to say ain't nothing wrong with jail, but sometimes you got to go. You got to go. You got to be willing to go sometimes because people don't understand. That's the only thing people understand a lot of times. Sometimes you got to call that man and say, let me go get in the car. Let me get in the car with you because I ain't gonna get no act right until I'm ready to go to jail.
Yeah. You got to be willing to go to jail.
Just think about how easy it is sometimes. Think about, because most of the time, again, I say this, most of the time, easygoing guys generally don't have girls. They don't have girls. Easygoing guys generally don't. They have a woman for a little while, but generally she would leave you and go with a guy that's a lot more demanding. I don't understand it. I don't understand why she would leave a no, a yes, and go to a hell no. I don't understand it. It don't make sense to me.
Pastor Sam say Genesis 3:16 explains that. All right, Pastor, you gotta send us a scripture.
Wait, hold on. I got it. Wait.
Jumping to come off the dome with you. Hold on. He said no jail. But I think about teachers. Like, why I think about teachers? Listen to me. Watch where I'm going with this. Teachers honestly have no power in the classroom. They only have the power of their bluff. The only thing that holds them is not having a kid who's going to try them and test them, call them on their bluff. They one kid calling them on their bluff away from losing control. What happens when the woman calls you on your bluff?
I mean, well, what? Well, you normally fold like an old wooden chair. No, normally most of the time, guy, I think, I don't want to say weak guys, but I want to say more subdued guys generally get wiser as they get older. And you can talk your way or position your way out of some things. But I think you have to go through that whooping earlier, though. You're like, I think you have to. And I think the longer the woman stays with the guy that's more meek and not weak, I think the more she kind of comes under control herself. I think he kind of brings her under control. I would think.
That's a great point. All right, so we got the scripture. It says, unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow shalt thou bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So basically, women would desire to take over anyway.
Oh yeah, you gotta be willing to go to jail. I say
you gotta be.
I meant that. You gotta at least act like you crazy sometimes.
All right,
at least once.
Right.
So y'all trying y'all trying to tell me, and I know I help. I know sometimes I can be skewed as the guy that's more dominant or more and I'm not gonna let you get away. But that's not who I am. I am really a nice guy, as long as you let me be. Because I show the same thing. Most guys want their spouses to be happy. We live for our spouses to be happy. In as long as your happiness is under the umbrella for which I can provide. And when I say no, about something, I don't need the back and forth, because I have you back in the kitchen with your shoes on
Yeah.
and a New York minute.
Pastor Sam says, your wife will desire to control you, but you shall rule her. He says, strong women make strong men. Now, Pastor, I don't know about that for sure. I think strong women make more passive men.
You think so? Well, okay. Okay. To that point, I don't always feel like fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't always feel like fighting, there are sometimes I know it seems like I'm always up for a good fight.
Okay.
But that's not the case. Sometimes I just want to go along to get along.
You just want to go along to get along because you just don't want to deal with it
all the time. You don't want to fight you don't have to, nobody wants to have to fight that woman all the time.
Okay. Oh. Now, when it comes to fighting your woman, that's one thing. But I think the fight that we get is because what I'm perceiving as weakness, although he just may be, you know what I'm saying, just being chill, being passive, what's being perceived as weakness creates an insecurity in her. On, can I be safe? Am I safe? Is he a head buster? Because if he a head buster, I can at least, you know what I'm saying.
But they're not gonna submit.
They gotta bust your head. But I'm saying, but is he a head buster?
They're not gonna submit to whoever it is. So security is one thing,
right?
Challenging me at every turn is a completely different thing. No man wants to be challenged at every turn about everything. No man, even if because the problem, like we said last week, when I say no about something, if I don't say no about some things, but why can't I just want to say yes to you because I hadn't been able to provide you with some of the stuff that I really wanted to? So the minor things you asked for, why I just can't say yes? Why I got to be perceived as a weak man because I've said yes one time too many. Now that we make more money, I can't get you to stop. I'm just again. That's one thing why I have to give women this. Because as much as I say about you guys, I love women, but y'all have stick-to-itiveness. When I tell you women, they will not stop. You hear me? Boy, if I tell my wife something one time, I mean, I got to be on that thing every day. So she's going to come back to check at least 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And so whatever strong man or what that you're trying to be, that woman is going to challenge you and test you to make sure you are who you say you are. And if you're not, if you're not a strong man, she's going to find out sooner than later because she's going to test you.
Wow.
So I got women, stick to it. Y'all got that. Y'all need a shirt that say that's what we do. We stick to.
Pastor Sam says they could make passive men, but I was designed to make a man be a man. It was designed to make a man be a man. And let me say this. No knock to my single mothers who holding it down. There is something you get from being around men that you need. I remember there's this psychologist, Dr. Jordan Peterson. He talked about raising sons, and he said, teach your son to be an absolute monster. Then teach him how to control it. I remember I had a history teacher when I was in 7th grade, and his son went to the school. His son would get in trouble for fighting all the time. Now, his son was kind of the person that would typically get picked on. If you looked at him, you know, he said, I want him to fight. He said, the more he fights, the less he'll have to.
Absolutely. Sometimes you have to be a lion in order to be the lamb that you really are.
Oh, okay.
That's what Dave Chappelle used to tell him because he didn't want to fight. He didn't want to. That's not who he was, but he had to be a lion in order so he could be the lion. So I get it. I know exactly where it comes from.
And I believe when it comes to single mothers, more single mothers teach you the passive route. Like I was raised by my mom. If I got into it with another boy in the neighborhood or something like that, she would try to go the peaceful route and tell us to make peace. If my dad had been there,
no,
I think he would have said, "Don't you better go win and don't you come back until you do it."
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. I think between my dad going to the store for cigarettes and not coming back and being there, I think he told us to fight. I can't really remember. I think he said fight, and I'll be right back. Is what he said.
He was a victim of the cigarette shortage of 19.
Yes,
the great cigarette shortage. 19. What was it? 19. What was it? I took him out, y'all. I took him out. We hang around this cat too long, man. We hang around him too long. He rolled up on.
That hurt me. That hurt me. They got him a subconscious.
Where was the cigarette shortage, the diaper shortage, the bread shortage? Some brothers fell victims.
Yes, sir. They was not coming back to the house. Oh boy, that hurt me.
But no, I just think about, and we're talking about, is he weak or just easygoing? I think being easygoing outside of the relationship, I think it sets you up for the challenges you face inside. What you think?
I agree, but I just can't help but sit here and think about how many people are in relationships or married to somebody and they pick the guy that wasn't necessarily easygoing, that they thought they were going to have to whip into shape, or they thought I'll get him where I want him to be.
Mm-hmm.
And after they get through, they saying, Lord, I just wish I had an easygoing guy or a weaker guy that's not so dominant. I mean, think because it's surprising to me how many people are unhappy in relationships. It's surprising to me when you've given your heart to somebody, or you, and y'all been married for years and y'all not happy. It's baffling, because it's a lot more common than what we think it is. And just think, if I had to make a decision when this guy showed his dominance or she showed her dominance, that we say, you know what, I can see a lot of bumping heads.
Yeah,
because the only thing that makes relationships go is submission.
Yeah,
it's submitting to, you know what, either we can start fighting, now, or we can stop.
No, you right. I think today we deal with more. They talk about the masculine personality that women have these days. And when you typically match masculine with masculine, it's going to be conflict.
It's going to fight. We're going to fight.
So
we're going to fight until somebody gives up and say, okay, I submit. Or they say we can't. Or that's where irreconcilable differences come from.
So is it, I'll lose the battle to win the war? Or if you keep losing too many battles, you lost the war anyway.
Well, one of the problems is there are a lot of battles that are being had in relationships. You got to pick the one you want to win, because a lot of times we want to win all of them, and I can't win all of them. I got to win the right ones, because I'm trying to get to the bigger picture, the bigger thing.
Right.
So, no, and I think the problem is I think both of us come from spaces to where we want to win. I remember when I was younger, there was a guy that I knew and his wife, and she just used to run up and down over it, just up and down. And I used to always say, either you be a man in that relationship, or she's going to leave you for one.
Oh, okay.
And she eventually ended up leaving him for another guy, because he wasn't the man that she needed. I think in every relationship, a man has to stand up and be a man in it, or she will leave you. It's just like discipline with kids. If you don't discipline them, they will run amok.
Yeah,
because they actually want that. And I think it's the same for women. All women want a man. All women do. All women want it. They just don't know they need to be told. Go sit down somewhere. Go on now. No, then that's it. It's funny, but I'm so serious. Everybody know, women know. This is what. Remember why I talk about this. Remember why I talk about this. And I say, so honey, you mean to tell me you didn't know you was doing too much? And she'll say, oh, I didn't know. I didn't think so. I'm like, you mean the light or nothing didn't go off and say, I might be doing too much. I need to sit down somewhere. And she say, no. Well, in those cases, I think that's where men's supposed to come in and to cover her and say, sweetheart, come on over and sit down with me. Mm-hmm. I know, baby, but come on and sit down with me. We suppose that's another way we're supposed to cover them.
I like that. Clinton Cox says, true. My wife followed me out of church back in the day, but she followed me right back into church. What a responsibility. Good stream. Gave us a thumbs up. Being that leader, being that quote unquote strong man. I don't know. Are we clearly defining what strong means? So men don't feel like they have to go the route of the physical strength, dominating that way.
Okay, so do women want, I need women to answer this. Do you want a guy that adores you and that worships the ground you walk on? Or do you want a guy that's going to be the man and tell you no and give you boundaries and give you restrictions? Or do you want to be worshiped and adored? Because I think the problem is women think they want to be worshiped and adored until that's what they stuck with.
Oh wow.
And then when they get the guy that doesn't worship and adore him, they spend the rest of their life trying to figure out what can I do to make this guy worship and adore me.
So the guy who doesn't have the interest in worshiping and adoring,
that is their mission.
How do I get him to worship? And then
when you get
him and get him to worship,
they don't want that.
Why do you lose interest?
They don't want that.
Women, any women listen to help us out.
They don't want that.
Help us out.
They don't want that. We're constantly chasing what we can't have. We're constantly chasing what nobody wants to be adored. It gets boring after a while. You doing what I asked you to do. You give me everything I want. It gets boring.
Yeah.
So I go after the complete opposite. And hopefully God forbid that thing work out like it's supposed to.
I think about that. You chase the man down, you get him finally to be what you say you want. And the minute he becomes what you say you want, now you don't want him no more.
Because I know this it's always kind of the same with kids. You can't be 100 and go down to 10 to bring discipline on them. You got to ease your way from 10 to go up to 30. I think it's the same thing in relationships. You can't be the monster or the guy that's yelling and screaming and acting a fool with women all the time. You have to start off at a 10 and kind of work your way up to it. Not to act, you got to work your way up to it. That's like you would anything else, because it's easier to get that car to stop if it's going 30 than it's going 70 or 90.
You're right. So I've heard women say this, especially on these podcasts, relationship podcasts, talking about, I got to find a man who can handle me. Why do women need a man to quote unquote handle them? And women, if y'all listening, you can answer this question for me. Please help us out. Why do you think women need a man can handle them?
Everybody wants a man that can handle them until he handles them the way he thinks he needs to handle them.
Oh, so handle me, but handle me in a way that I
think. Because okay, think about it. How many women, y'all feel free to chime in. If he snatch you up and you doing something, most of the time women will say, oh, okay, well, yeah, I was doing a bunch. But if he snatch you,
right,
and your eyes get big and you don't know what he gonna do, girl, you gonna be with your friend. Girl, I thought, girl, you gotta help me get out of here. When he go to work, you gotta move my clothes. We gotta get out of here. I'm telling. It's funny because everybody wants discipline their way.
Mm.
Everybody wants to be checked their way. But most of the time, when guys, when you make a guy check you like that, he gonna do what he thinks, not what you.
All
want.
right. You can choose your actions, but you can't choose your consequences.
There you go. You're right.
Pastor Sam says, you guys just described one of my nieces. Wow. Oh, wow. It is not attractive to a man to have to feel like he has to subdue.
Yes. Good, great word.
Subdue a woman. Now, if he's done enough, if he's been successful, if he's, showed some signs that, he can lead in the whole nine, why is it submission just, something you just go ahead and do anyway?
One of the things for me, I think people don't get this, this is so crazy. I often say, if what you're doing is not working, you have to admit that my thinking is flawed and I need to get it to God, and so God can give me the correct way to proceed with this.
Right.
A lot of times our thinking is flawed. It's not working. It's not working. And we're in it and we can't see it's not working our way. And it's our way. And we don't want to admit to ourselves that we have failed. We have failed ourselves. And because we have created this situation. A lot of situations that we in with guys and women, we have done this.
Yeah.
We failed. And we don't want to admit it. So that thing can straighten out.
And I think the message that's being put out there, it's not working, but nobody's saying change you.
Yes.
Everybody's still saying no, change them.
Yes.
Change them, change them. And nobody's you're getting the same thing because of who you are. Until you change you're not going to get a different result. And most people miss that. So when women talk about handle them, why do you make a choice? It's like you're making a choice to be difficult.
Oh, no, they're saying that because they know they are difficult.
Right. So why not stop being difficult?
No, it's easy if you choking me for me to stop. You got to do something to me. You got to at least make me think that you're gonna kill me before I come to my senses. And just think about that.
The threat of death for them to act right.
Just think about that. Just think about what I'm saying. Women today are they know they're difficult.
Yeah.
And they won't stop until you do something to make them stop. And then they say, yeah, girl, I got to be handled. Think about it.
So if you put out there that you got to be handled, and he handles you, why play the victim afterwards?
Because 9 times out of 10, he gonna handle you more than you want to be handled.
Gloria Fitzroy says change starts with yourself. Well, Pastor Gloria, I need you to tell these women that change starts with them too.
Yeah.
I think we're caught in a world where everybody's trying to make everybody else the problem instead of looking internally and saying, you know what? I probably need to change some stuff. I probably need to change how I deal with relationships. If I keep getting problems with men, when do I figure out that I'm the common denominator?
I guess what's crazy to me is there are examples of good relationships. Like there are examples of bad relationships. We don't look to those.
Right.
We look to we look to people that aren't in them. We get advice from women that are single.
Yeah.
And we as a matter of fact, we despise when a woman say, girl, I cook, I clean, I be quiet. What? I'm not submitting to no man. Well, then enjoy that warm pillow at night because you will be by yourself. Because you got listen, everybody has to submit to something or somebody.
And they swear they would swear that you being abused, girl, blink twice if you need somebody to come rescue you, and all of this type of stuff.
Not twice.
You know what I'm saying? And what if they just figured they figured out how it works?
What if that's just you being happy? You see, because more times than not, the guy that's considered weak,
Mhm.
where he's going is you're gonna be happy with him.
Yeah.
And where you're not happy with him, most of the time you can teach him or talk to him about what you need and how you need it, and he'll conform most of the time. But that's not what we want.
That's what I'm saying. The relationships that work, are they just boring?
No, relationships that work are in constant compromise. This is what I have noticed. The relationship that works, and let me say this about me and Derek. Me and Derek are guys. We're good guys. We're seasoned guys. We're God-fearing guys, and we're guys that want better lives, better marriages.
Yeah.
We want to be better husbands. But
Right.
now everybody is not like me and Derek. But we hope there are a great number that we are speaking for. But everybody's not like me and D. Let me say D, because I choke you out.
my desire to be better, it may be inspired by my wife, but it's not driven by her. She's not making me be better. That's a choice I make, because I think about, when I'm gone, what will people say about me as a man? What will people say about me as a husband? And it's just the whole nine. And how I handle myself, the decision to grow, the decision to change, the decision to learn and keep learning, and the whole nine plays into that final picture that I want. And I think so many people get caught up in what's happening right now, what's in their face right now at the moment, to the point that they don't think about the final picture.
The one of the statements I heard over the years that and I'm not trying to be religious or anything, but the sanctified woman will sanctify the husband. Well, and it's fun because my wife was saved when we got married, and I wanted to know, I would be considered what you might call at that time a heathen, with the capital H and the capital N at the end. Okay, everything else, and she would not let me. She stayed on me and more importantly, she lived it. And I saw the compromise with her where she was trying to meet me at. And dude, and she wasn't trying to beat me over my head with it. She was just doing what she needed me to do to meet her.
Yeah,
dude. And again, I think a lot of times, man, we're trying to change people when we have to allow them time and a place to change. Because listen, we know who they are when we marry them. That's why it kills me that we're so shocked when they become what we know they're gonna become. I don't know how I got here. Just one day I woke up, he was on top of me, choking me. I don't know how. Oh, you know, he was pre-choking you when you was dating.
He said pre-choking.
He was pre-choking. He put the thread out there. Keep on, I'm gonna choke you.
Right.
You ain't gonna choke. You don't put your hands on me. Keep on, I'm gonna choke. He was pre-choking you before you was married.
Right. Right. You know, I remember guy I admired a whole lot, Dr. Miles Monroe. He said one time he had a woman at his church. She was complaining about her husband not coming to church and the whole nine. And in her complaining, he stopped her and he said, "Why are you here?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Why aren't you at home serving your husband?" And he sent her home from church, sent her home. So you need to go home. You up in here all the time. You need to go home, serve your husband. He said the next Sunday, the husband shows up.
Yes,
the husband comes in, extends his hand to him and says, "I want to thank you." And he said he had been coming faithfully ever since. I think we get confused about what really causes a man to act right.
Dude, let me tell you something. The first time she came back through that door and she said he sent me home, I've been like, he did what? Why he sent you home? Well, because I was telling them about us, because the first thing that normally what happens with women, especially, is when they tell a story, they're either the hero or the victim. Just like that lady we talked to that time, talking about she saved this guy. He ain't saved nobody. You just gave him some of the cookie, and he still didn't marry you either. You ain't saved nobody, or either you the victim. And oh my God, I can't believe he doing this, and he left, and he did. Oh, I can't. He won't act right. Most of the time when you tell, so it takes a real man who understands, who have been in it before, to understand there's more to this.
Yeah.
And so why don't we start right here with me sending you home with him?
Yeah.
And do you know the amount of respect I would have for that man? You know the amount of respect he sent you home to be with me? Really?
Yeah. And said serve him. Say go home and serve him.
See, I want to know how many women wouldn't have sit there and been going back and forth with him when he sent them home, or what they ever turned around and did it. Because a lot of people would have had something to say to him about that.
Oh, would have changed their membership. They would have went to another church or something. And what we really trying to put out there are guys who, most guys just want things to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll say yes to things because it's just not a big deal. It's not interrupting the flow. It's not disrupting the peace in the house. So the wife wants to do something. All right, cool. But when we finally say, nah, that's not, we don't need to do that. If we've said yes all these other times, and this thing we're saying, no, we can't do this, we don't need to do this. Why does there have to be so much objection? Why can't something say, you know what? It must be something about this thing, because I don't usually get this from him. So if I'm getting it now, what is it about this thing that I'm not considering that, or not even, you can question what it is. Say, you know what, it must be a big deal. So guess what? I'm a chill.
Yeah, but normally we in the moment though with that stuff. Normally what you did for me last week don't matter. They don't care about that. We're in the moment a lot of times.
My wife, Dr. Selena, says, say yes to my micro teacup poodle, LOL.
That you're gonna have to take care of. You're gonna have to walk. You're gonna have to clean up after.
What are you talking about, man?
No, we both saying no, no, and no. Go ahead, dude. I'm sorry.
We've done dogs before. We are not dog people. So,
and you got to be at home to be a dog. Y'all ain't never at home.
Well, we're at home a lot. Well,
no, y'all not at home. No.
Well,
no.
Well,
no. Y'all not at home. Y'all over here right now. Y'all over here right now.
Where the dog at? Where would he be right here?
I'm just saying.
Right. No, you got a point. Now, I've done dogs twice. No. It never works out. We're not dog people.
You gotta know that.
Yes. And I realized that. How you know you're a dog person? You're not when you don't get mad at dogs for being dogs.
My grandmother used to say, if you play with a dog, he'll lick you in the mouth. I don't really know what that meant at the time. I don't know what it means now. That's what she used to tell us all the time. Don't keep the dogs away, because they'll lick you in the mouth.
Okay. Maybe if you be too friendly with them,
I don't know what it meant. She used to always say something like that. You be sitting like, what? And she just walk off like, chew on that.
Right. That'll keep them busy for a minute.
2 years.
Just drop something on you. That'll keep you busy for a minute.
Exactly. Yeah, I do, but for the most part, man, I just think I think it would help if people don't really know what they want. And I know it seems repetitive, but man, people don't know what they want. People think they know what they want in the moment, in those moments. But man, for me, what I want for my daughter, I just want somebody to love her unconditionally. that she's happy with and that she loves. Love her back like she loves them. That's all I want. That's all I
Yeah.
want for her.
Yeah.
That's all a man would want for any. And that's all a woman should want is a man. But again, well, he not this, he not that. I think it's too easy to watch two guys sitting here that have been married 40 years, 40 plus years between us and say, I want my marriage like theirs. Man, we had to work like hell to get these
Boy.
marriages like this. And,
Yeah.
and the truth of the matter is we still work.
And I think most people are trying to find the effortless marriage, the effortless relationship. Pastor saying, I kept your dog H for 5 years. LOL. That's Gloria says, no, but you pawned them off on at Pastor House. Where we don't need no more dogs. We don't need no more dogs.
Wasn't that? I thought it was a dog. Was it y'all?
Nah, it was our dog.
Oh,
And then, but yeah.
no.
Yeah, we
That's-
you know,
is that
we
the
don't
one that
need
had
no
went around the country and came back to y'all, or somebody else had?
dog. Oh,
it?
no. That was another dog. Another, yeah, that was another dog.
They gonna put y'all name up.
Oh, H stand for alpha. Huh? Okay.
They gonna put y'all name up at the dog place and don't get it.
Right,
No dog.
right. Every little pound and everything. Do not adopt to these people. But I think people want the effortless marriage, the effortless relationship, and there's no such thing. It's not about being effortless. It's about, are you worth the effort? And that's really what you're trying to figure out. You're trying to see if the person is worth the effort. That's what you're trying to determine. Are you worth the headaches I'm gonna have? Because there will be some headaches. Are you worth the stress that's gonna come? Because there is no such thing. When people I want the 6 figures. I want, you know what I'm saying? I want the guy to look like this and all this stuff. That's what they're looking for. They don't want to have to go through what normal people have to go through in relationships in the process of building.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if you go into something that's already made, it's already fixed. If you go in to deal with somebody that already has everything already together, you will constantly be questioning what value you bring to them.
Well, D, and to that point, when you get in a house, custom house
Mm-hmm.
to your specifics and whatever you want, and I want this, I want that, I want this over here, it takes more time
Yeah.
and it's more expensive.
Yeah.
But when you get in it, it's tailor made. It's perfect for you.
Right.
We want to make our relationship tailor made before we go through the process of trying to figure everything out.
Yeah.
And which makes it more difficult because wait a minute, I can't give you everything that you want this house because I don't know what you want. You don't know what you want.
You don't know what you want.
But you want the house to be custom and tailor made to you, or the
Right.
person to be that way, and they can't give that to you because they don't know.
Right.
Oftentimes, man, it's funny because we were talking about this earlier. Oftentimes, we go through things in relationships that are building points,
Yes.
and we just want to bypass them. Listen, first of all, stop nagging and talk from your heart.
Mm.
We have to allow people to talk from their hearts and stop. Listen, guys know when you are nagging, just like women know. When it's something that I want my wife to really get, I have to talk from my heart. I have to stop and say, sweetheart, this is me, and I want you to hear my heart in this, that, and the other. And we don't do that enough in relationships. We constantly trying to win the smaller battles when the bigger thing is, I want you to hear my heart in it. If you hear my heart, you'll be more subject to listen and understand what I'm saying, and you will be if I'm constantly yelling about something. Hear my heart. Because I believe you love me enough to where if you hear my heart, you'll at least try to make some changes for me.
Right. No, you just hit it. You just hit it. Or you hope they love you enough.
Well, and if they don't, then you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at least you don't have to keep going through relationship trying to figure out whether somebody loves you as much. Because you know the fun thing, marriage can get in habits, relationships can get in habits, and where we just kind of go through the processes. Oh,
Mhm.
another day. Oh, you're not supposed to be happy this. But there'll be moments where you'll find out whether or not people love you or not.
Yeah.
There'll be things that come up. Like I remember when you had got sick
Mm-hmm.
and Selena made you that burnt toast and said, I heard this really helps what you got. And I looked at her then and I grabbed that toast and it was burnt on both sides. I say, girl, now that's love right there. You went in that kitchen and burnt that toast, girl.
Oh my
goodness. I said, that's love. I looked and I said, you know what? That's love. That's love. That is love right there. That girl looked that up on the internet and said, I heard this work. I said, child, I thought I knew. I thought I knew, D.
Because he did not want to take me to the hospital for nothing, boy. He did not want to. He did not want me to go.
That's not
He did
where I
not
was
want me to
going.
go. All she was thinking was Bill. I'm like, listen, you in enough pain, Bill takes a back seat. And I was in that back seat, Bill, pain. That's where I was. And even then, I was trying to soldier up. Then like, I'm gonna eat this toast. We gon'
You ain't scrape it off enough. You just
my body was like, fool, you better get out of here.
Oh man. But again, man, life, marriages, relationships gonna have speed bumps. They're gonna have speed bumps. And you just gotta stop and take your time to go over them because it builds better relationship. It makes the relationship better with those if you do those early rather than late. Hey, honestly, you encounter those speed bumps when you're dating. But we just go over them and don't really pay any attention to them. So final thoughts. So my final thought for this evening is this. It's pretty easy for us to come over here and talk about relationships because we oftentimes have been in different situations or we've learned a lot over the years through marriage. But man, I am far from perfect. I'm still learning this thing. Marriage change. You know, contrary to what people think, we've been married 30 plus years, and I still have to work at it just like we just got married. There's nothing I can take for granted. My wife changes every year just to keep me on my toes. Okay, so I don't want you guys to think we have it all together. We have a lot of great advice, but I don't have it all together. So you guys continue to pray for me like I would pray for you guys. And while you're looking at y'all husbands, remember, this is a process that we all have to work through. There are no shortcuts. Okay? There are no shorts. All right? You guys be blessed. And happy Martin Luther King Day. Why don't you go out there and get whooped or something?
One thing about being a strong man versus being a weak man. Being a strong man is about having the courage of your convictions. Being a strong man is about having your act together. That means making good decisions, making right decisions. It ain't always the most exciting thing. I remember they said Salt and Pepper from Salt and Pepper. Will Smith, you know, Will Smith was the kind of square guy. He was the rapper. He wanted to date her back in the day. She ended up dating this guy named Tretch from Naughty by Nature, who had this thug persona, right? He even used to wear prison suits as part of his get up. He had this thug persona. Now she went with Tretch. Things didn't work out. Will Smith, we know, ends up being major Hollywood guy and the whole nine. And I wonder if she ever regrets not giving Will Smith a chance. He seemed like the weak choice at the time. So for all you guys out there, don't compromise who you are for the sake of what you think women want. Lock into who you feel like you should be. Continue to get better, and guarantee you your stock gonna rise. Your stock is going to rise. They're gonna come looking for you. Don't even worry about that. But you won't have to compromise yourself to be something that you think women want. Just be yourself and lock in, and everything will happen as it needs to. And that's how King speaks for this week. Listen, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the podcast. We are available on Apple, Google, Spreaker, Spotify, all those podcast platforms. Make sure you go and check us out. We got plenty of episodes already loaded. Go and look at those episodes. Pastor Gloria says, I think women are looking for an honest, spiritual, selfless. I guess it's honest, spiritual, selfless.
Man.
I
don't think that.
I think that might be something to examine a little further on another show.
Women now, they looking for a man to make 6 figures that they don't have to worry with. They don't have to worry nothing about.
Right. And don't forget, check us out, BS3 Network, BS3 TV on Roku. We're on Roku as well. Go to the BS3 TV channel on Roku and check us out along with all the great podcasts that's on the BS3 Network. A lot of great content, a lot of great information. Go and check us out there. Check out the BS3 family there as well. Also, if you don't have a Roku TV or Roku device, right on your computer, you can go to bs3tvlive.com and you can still catch us live there as well. bs3tvlive.com. Mika says, great show with hard facts. And Selena does not need $1. Yeah, you're right. She don't need no dollar. Absolutely. We appreciate y'all for joining us. Go and check out the Cowboys. That's why we went on early. So we make sure we clear for y'all to go check out the Cowboys. Cowboy games will be coming up soon. So y'all have a good time. We're going to see y'all next week. Peace out.
BS3 Network. Changing the way you watch TV.